Hare Krishna, Chatura Mataji, Subhadra Mataji, Dandavat. Am I audible?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Yeah,
Hare
very
Krishna
good.
Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Okay, looks like this is too early for others. I don't know, Dhanashri Mataji, she wanted to have it earlier, now she's not here. And anyway, yeah, whoever comes, comes. We continue reading. So let us just quickly revise what we did last time. If you remember, we are in the fifth chapter of the seventh canto. And what is happening in this fifth chapter? It's education of Prahlad Maharaj. He has been educated by Shukracharya's sons, and first time when Hiranyakashipu wanted to see what his son Prahlad learned, Prahlad instructs him in bhakti, and he is giving him instructions of devotional service. At first, Hiranyakashipu doesn't take it very seriously because he thinks this is just a small child and who knows who polluted his mind, so he doesn't get angry at Prahlad at that time. But he chastises Chandana Marka and tells them, take him back and teach him properly and make sure that nobody comes to pollute his mind. So then Chandana Marka, they chastise Prahlad and forcefully try to teach him economics, politics, and other materialistic subjects. So then after that second time, Hiranyakashipu takes Prahlad on his lap and asks him, what is the best that you have learned? And then Prahlad starts reciting Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, that famous verse describing 9 processes of Bhakti, Navida Bhakti. And then Hiranyakashipu, he becomes really, really angry. He becomes outraged. And he asks Prahlad, who taught you this? You rascal, who taught you this? And then answering him, Prahlad again started preaching him, describing, the nature and destination of materialistic householders, grihastras, who are going to Griha Andakupa. And then he concludes with the power of serving a Vaishnava, Maharaja Padabhishek, that famous verse, unless one smears himself with the dust of the lotus feet of pure Vaishnava, there is no chance for him. And at this point, Hiranyakashipu, he had it enough. And he orders his servants to finish him, to kill him. So this is the point where we are, and we will share the screen now and continue reading. Okay. What's happening now? What I'm sharing, maybe I'm sharing something wrong. Let's try again. Try again to share this. Oh, this. Yeah. Okay. So it should be visible now. So we stop at 39 and 40. And now we can continue reading. So maybe, Subhadra Mataji, you want to start reading this verse?
Yes, Prabhu. Neritaste samadhishta bhartra vaisulapanaya tigmadamstra karalasyas tamras masrushirudha nandam to bhairavam nadam chindi binditi vadina Asinam chahanan chule prahadam pra praharadam sarvamarmasu.
Okay, translation.
Yeah. The demons, Rakshasas, the servants of Hiranyakashipu, thus began striking the tender parts of Prahlad Maharaj's body with their tridents. The demons all had fearful faces, sharp teeth, and reddish, coppery beards and hair, and they appeared extremely threatening, making a tumultuous sound, shouting, "Chop him up, pierce him." They began striking Prahlad Maharaj, who sat silently, meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
I think there's that photo in the seventh canto when you see these fierce Rakshasas and Prahlad sitting with the folded hands in meditation, and they have tridents trying to pierce him. That's the photo in the seventh canto. Yeah, this is very terrible situations. Huge Rakshasas trying to kill small boy. Maybe you can read one more because there was no purport here.
Mhm. परे ब्रह्मणि अनिर्देश्ये भगवती अखिलात्मनि युक्तामणि अपला आसन उपन यस्येव सत्क्रिया. Even though a person who has no assets in pious activities performs some good deeds, it will have no result. Thus, the weapons of the demons had no tangible effects upon Prahlad Maharaj, because he was a devotee, undisturbed by material conditions, and fully engaged in meditating upon and serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unchangeable, who can't be realized by the material senses, and who is the soul of the entire universe. Prahlad Maharaj was constantly and fully engaged in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is said, Govinda Parirambita, Prahlad Maharaj engaged himself always in meditation, and thus he was protected by Govinda. Just as a small child on the lap of his father or mother is fully protected, a devotee in all conditions is protected by the Supreme Lord. Does this mean that when Prahlad Maharaj was attacked by the demons, the Rakshasas, Govinda was also attacked by the demons? This is not possible. There have been many attempts by the demons to hurt or kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he can't be injured by any material means because he is always in transcendence. Therefore, the words Paribrahmani are used here. The demons, the Rakshasas, can neither see nor touch the Supreme Lord, although they may superficially think that they are striking the Lord's transcendental body with their material weapons. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described in this verse as a nirdeshye. We can't understand him to be in a particular place, for he is all pervasive. Moreover, he is a Akhil Atma, the active principle of everything, even material weapons. Those who can't understand the position of the Lord are unfortunate. They may think that they can kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotee, but all their attempts will be futile. The Lord knows how to deal with them. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. His body, Atma, was connected with the Lord, since it was previously said that he was embraced by Govinda. He was like a child protected on the lap of his father. Then, did the weapons attack the limbs of the Lord? No, that is impossible. The Lord is the supreme Brahm, spread everywhere without change, with inconceivable powers, a nirdeshya. He is the soul of everything, and thus he the controller of all weapons. How could weapons strike him? Apunyashya means a person with misfortune.
This is almost like a magic, you know. They're trying to kill him with these tridents, these huge rakshasas, and he's just a small, tender boy. And still, the weapons have no effect. They're just passing through him like through air, and nothing happens. There's no blood. There's no injury. He's not crying. Nothing happens. It's magical because the Lord is the active principles even in the weapons, and when the Lord wants to protect something, nobody can harm him. Do you remember? Anybody remembers any other example of a devotee who was attacked like this and still he was protected?
Haridas Thakur?
Yes, yeah, this is good example. Haridas Thakurs, they beat him on 21 marketplaces, and who protected him? It's Lord Chaitanya who
Chaitanya, yes.
yeah, he covered completely the body of Haridas Thakur, so he didn't even feel the pain. So he took all the beating on his transcendental body. Well, one really needs to be completely absorbed in Krishna, like Prahlad Maharaj was, in order for Lord to protect one like this. Otherwise, generally, we don't want to jump into the tiger's mouth and test the Lord whether he'll protect us or not. Okay, so Chatur Mataji, would you like to continue reading?
Okay. Puriyashe Pahate Tasmin De Yeja Parishakita Cha Karata Rido Payam Ni Bandena Yudhishthira. Translation. My dear King Yudhishthira, when all the attempts of the demons to kill Prahlad Maharaj were futile, the king of the demons, Hiranyakasipu, being most fearful, began conjuring other means to kill him.
Yes, so looks like and he could not kill him with these rakshasas, with the tridents. He was thinking the method is wrong. I just have to find the right method how to kill him. So poison, oil, so many things he's going to try. Maybe you can read one more.
Yes. Diggaje Danda Shukejan Vicara Vapatane Maya Pi Sanirodascha Garathane Abojana Janehi Kima Vai Anisali Le Pavata Pramane Rapi Nasha Shakayata Pantun Apapan Ashura Shatam Chintan Digatam Ma Pratas Takatur Napyayatyata. Translation. Hiranyakasipu could not kill his own son by throwing him beneath the feet of big elephants, throwing him among huge fearful snakes, employing destructive spells, healing him from the top of a hill, conjuring up illusory tricks, administering poisons, starving him, exposing him to severe cold, wind, fire, and water, or throwing heavy stones to crush him. When Hiranyakasipu found that he could not in any way harm Prahlad, who was completely sinless, He was in great anxiety about what to do next.
Yeah, maybe this short commentary.
Yeah, Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur, 7.5, 43 to 44. He tried black magic, arbitrary, throwing him from high places, Vapatani, imprisoning him in a hole and other places, semi-eroded. The plural case indicates that he tried each method many times. Tatun Navyapadiata means that he could not kill him.
So if Hinayakashi lived in modern times, he would probably try also some modern methods like guns. In those days they didn't have guns or electric chairs or whatever. They have nuclear weapons now. He tried all these traditional methods. And black magic is one of them. Invoking with the mantras, demons and all these things. Nothing work because he was protected by God. This just reminds me that recently, maybe a month or so ago, there was in the news one U.S. presidential candidate. There was attempted assassination during one of his talks, and the man was standing on opposite row there, in spite of all the security around, and he was shooting the presidential candidate, and somehow, yeah, it was Trump. Everybody saw. There is some background noise. Okay, I'm turning it off. So at that time, and he missed him just because in the last split of a second, he turned his head and somehow just turned his head to look at another direction, and the bullet missed him and only a little bit scratched his ear. So some devotees, they came up with the story because in 1970s he gave devotees a spot for Ratha Yatra in New York. They didn't have a spot where to keep the chariot before the Ratha Yatra, so he gave devotees the spot to keep the chariot. So because of that, they say, "Oh, Jagannath saved him." But then, of course, Nash, our communication ministry immediately reacted, and they said that this is a stretch and speculation. We are not on any side of this political fight in elections in America, so we are not claiming anything like this. These are just some individual devotees. Whatever the case is, he was saved by some miracle. But this is much more miracle because this not one attempt assassination. Okay, by some good luck you can save yourself from one assassination attempt, but again and again, tens of times, dozens of times, somebody is trying to kill you and nothing happens. This is more than miraculous. Okay,
Prabhu,
yeah.
I am experienced this evil magic. I don't know whether it's black magic or not.
Oh,
2 months,
how
2 months ago.
how did you experience it? Can you describe to us?
Yeah, some devotee, they use this evil magic. They put some stones in my house, and that stone is cursed by this devotee, so he
Mm,
can use as a communicating tools for her. And then what also these tools can be used to absorb my energy, and
mm,
those devotees can also absorb my energy by air. And not only one devotee, many devotees use this evil magic. Just now I say, also this Mataji is very good at using the insects
Mm.
For example, he used cockroach and spiders and to attack me. And she sent many cockroach and spiders to my house. In China, Buddhist scriptures, it is this cultural and spider are considered a ghost here.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they are not ordinary insects. They can bite you, and they can climb on your back and attack you when you sleep. And they also cry to every corner of your house, and then they will absorb your energy and make you feel very very heavy headache and feel very, very cold. Especially in summer, you will feel very cold.
So you felt sick? You felt sick during this? You felt something?
Yeah, I already very, very sick. Almost died.
So how did you find out actually that it was a black magic? Somebody told you?
Yeah. Somebody, because one new devotee, she has been oppressed by this black magic many years, maybe 7 years ago. She experienced this, and then she told me this because this Mataji also pray this spells, this evil spells on this, I mean this evil devotee Mataji A. Let me see, she is A, and then the new devotee is B, and then this A Mataji attack B Mataji.
Okay.
So that Mataji has had experience several years ago. So, and she knew this, and then she told me that this A Mataji attack her, and have you ever been experienced? I said I don't know, and then she told me the details. And then I began to think, oh, I also experienced the same, because they use the same methods. And then you will experience the same symptom. Also, the parts of your body, you will get sick, almost the same.
Yeah, okay, I understand. So she helped you to get protected somehow?
Yeah, she helped me, and then she helped me also find out the other devotees use the same or use evil magic, not the same, but the other devotee, they use another methods, but also do the say evil things. They will absorb your energy and make you very, very drain your energy and exhaust your energy, and then you will become malnutrition, and then you will become sick and gradually very, very sick. And they don't do this only once or twice. Every day they absorb your energy.
Yeah, I understand. Well, it's very sad actually that devotees are doing this. But yeah, I'm sure as Krishna protected you, that Krishna will protect any other sincere devotee. And anybody who is doing this, he will get punished sooner or later. So I'm happy that Krishna also protected you and revealed to you what is happening. And this
So
real devotees are not doing this thing. This is just, it's trying to cause harm to others through subtle means, because you cannot do it physically. You try through some, methods that
Yeah.
anyway.
They are all initiated devotees. Some are initiated devotee, and then they left ISKCON several years ago. So now here in my area, we had already found more than 10 devotees. They can do this. They can do this. So it's very, very terrible condition now. Prabhu.
Yeah, maybe you could learn some of these kavachas, Nrsimha kavacha, Naran kavacha, some things to protect yourself. But I'm sure if you chant really good rounds of Maha Mantra, that Krishna will definitely protect you.
Yeah, and I learned this Narayana Kavacha, but I see in the chapters, it is that you had to how to say, you had to do many things together. Then this Kavacha is effective, not only chant.
Yeah,
But you
there is a hand mudras and nyasa, the things. Yeah, there are many
yeah,
things to do there.
yeah.
Well, thank you for telling us. I'm glad that you survived with
Yeah,
Vlad Maharaj. So let us continue reading.
yeah.
Shanti,
Okay,
thank
maybe
you. Yeah,
later in the future you can you all be careful.
yeah, we'll try. I don't know many people who are doing this, so I hope I don't get to know them. But thank you for
But
warning us. So let us continue with the reading. Maybe Shanti Rupa
okay,
Mataji can
Yes,
continue.
Prabhu. Yes, I
Please.
can. एष मे वासाधु कुतो वधोपायाश्च निर्मिता तैस्तैर्द्रोहैरसद्धर्मैर्मुक्तस्वेनैव तेजसा. Translation. Hiranyakashipu thought, I have used many ill names in chastising this boy Prahlad and have devised many means of killing him. But despite all my endeavors, he could not be killed. Indeed, he saved himself by his own powers without being affected in the least by these treacherous and abominable actions. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. 3 verses explain his thoughts. Asadharma means from spells.
So Hiranyakashipu thinks that Prahlad saved himself by his own powers, but actually no, he didn't save himself. Krishna, Vishnu saved him with his powers, but because Hiranyakashipu is used on rely on his own powers, so he thought that Prahlad must have some mystic powers, because he also tried mystic means to kill him, like black magic, this Asad Dharma, using spells, but it didn't work. So he thought Prahlad Maharaj must be also be some magician like me. Maybe one more you can read, please.
Yes, Prabhu. Vartamano avidure vai balo api ajadadhir ayam na vismarati me arnaryam sukshuna shepa iva prabhu. Translation. Although he is very near to me and is merely a child, he is situated in complete fearlessness. He resembles a dog's curved tail, which can never be straightened because he never forgets my misbehavior and his connection with his master, Lord Vishnu. Purport. The word Shuna means of a dog and Shepa means tail. The example is ordinary. However, one may try to straighten a dog's tail. It is never straight, but always curved. Shuna Shepa is also the name of the second son of Ajigartha. He was sold to Harishchandra, but he later took shelter of Vishwamitra, Harishchandra's enemy, and never left his side. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Though he is situated close, he never forgets my enemy, Anaryam, Vishnu. Prahlad's inability to give up his nature is explained through an example. He is resilient like a dog's tail. Shunashepa is the name of the middle son of Ajigartha, who was sold to Harishchandra by his parents as a sacrifice. He did not remember their harm to him and took shelter of Vishwamitra and became a member of his family. He was thus saved from being killed. Prahlad was similarly able to escape death.
Yeah, this is interesting analogy. This dog tail, Shuna, Shepa, means something when something becomes deep, a long-term habit. It's very, very difficult to change it. That's why you don't see many old people becoming devotees, then joining in their 50s or 60s or 70s. Generally, when people are young, when they're still teenagers, when they're 20s or 30s, it's more easy for them to adopt a new way of life, new style, new diet, so many things. So that's why most of those who are becoming devotees are younger. And then, of course, they get old. But sometimes here and there, you see some devotee who is older and who joined as older person. And then the Shunashepa is also name of that son of one Kshatriya king who was sold to be sacrificed. I forgot exactly in which canto, but this is also in Bhagavatam described. All right, let us go to the next. Dhanashri Mataji is here. Dhanashri Mataji, can you hear us? Are you there,
Yeah.
Dhanashri Mataji?
I am here, Prabhu. Thank you. Yes.
We were starting at 5:30 because you wanted
Oh.
last time, I think, 5:30.
Prabhu, I forgot. So I'm very
I
sorry.
forgot. Okay, I hope next time.
Okay.
Please read.
Okay. Aprameyan bavo yam, akutashit bayo mara, numan etat vivodena, mityu me bavita navat. Translation: I can see that the boy's strength is unlimited, for he has not feared any of my punishments. He appears immortal. Therefore, because of my enmity toward him, I shall die, or maybe this will not take place.
So some fear starts appearing in his mind, so he's speculating. Maybe I will die, or maybe I will escape. But the boy must be very powerful. Okay, one more sloka, please.
Okay. Iti takchintaya kinchin mlana shriyam adumkam sanda markav oshanaso vivikta iti ochatu. Translation: thinking in this way, the king of the Daityas, morose and bereft of bodily luster, remained silent with his face downward. Then Sanda and Amarka, the two sons of Sukacharya, spoke to him in secret. I continue.
Yeah, continue, please.
Ditam Twayakena Jagat Twayam Bruvo. Vimbana Trasta Samasta Disnayapam Natasya Chintian Tawa Nata Kakshwave Navai Shishunam Guna Doshayo Padam. Translation: O Lord, we know that when you simply move your eyebrows, all the commanders of the various planets are most afraid. Without the help of any assistance, you have conquered all the three worlds. Therefore, we do not find any reason for you to be morose and dull of anxiety. As for Prahlad, he is nothing but a child and cannot be a cause of anxiety. After all, his bad or good qualities have no value. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, we do not see it suitable for you to think about desires you cannot attain. But my son's nature is to oppose me. We do not see the behavior of children in terms of good and bad. We will understand the good or bad nature of his intelligence after his childhood. Vai means and. The verb chaksvaye is used for both objects.
So Vishwanath Thakur is giving here like a dialogue between him and his servants who try to encourage him. According to the servants, nothing to fear. He's just a small boy. We tried to kill him. For some reason, we couldn't heal him, but he's not trying to harm us. So why should you be scared? There is any danger from him. But still, Hiranyakashipu thinks, well, he must be protected by some force. And then if that force comes, it will be a problem for me. And he says here, my son's nature is to oppose me. This is how he thinks, that he just wants to confront him, that intentionally he wants to oppose him. So I have to do something. And then the servants say, we do not see the behavior of children in terms of good and bad. Yeah, when the children are small, you don't take very seriously what they do, even if they steal something or do something naughty, you don't take it very seriously because they're still small and they have no discrimination. But once they grow up, they become at least, teenagers, then discrimination already there. And then if he does something bad, then it's much, much more serious. That's why the small children, generally they are not, even if they commit a crime, they're not sent to the prison up to the, I don't know which age. If they're still juvenile below 18, they go into some facility for underage children. They don't go straight to jail. But according to Shastra, I think up to 14 or 15, one is not really responsible, or even maybe lower. But after that, he becomes responsible. Before that, the parents are responsible. And in the world, especially in the Western world, you hear now and then about some shootings happening in schools. And often a student, which is also a kid, shoots the other students. And then what happens if he survives? If they don't kill him, they police comes and arrest him, but they don't put him to jail. They put him into some institution, and they arrest the parents sometimes. All right, so that was this. Let me see. Okay, so maybe I'll read one now. Imam tu pasher varunasya bhadva nidehi bittu na phalayate yatha buddhischa pumso vayasarya sevaya yavat gurur bhargava agamishyati. Translation: until the return of our spiritual master Shukracharya, arrest the child with the robes of Varuna, so that he will not flee in fear. In any case, by the time he is somewhat grown up and has assimilated our instructions or served our spiritual master, he will change in his intelligence. Thus, there need be no cause for anxiety. Vishnu Chakra Thakur, let it be. What should I do right now? So they give the advice in this verse, the servants of Hiranyakashipu, they give advice. Any man develops intelligence by age, after passing childhood, and by service to the Acharya. Who is the Acharya? When will he serve the Acharya? When Shukracharya returns. he'll become intelligent. The Shukracharya is the guru of the Daityas and Dhanavas. So Hiranyakashipu accepts him even if it's his guru, but he's more like a Kula guru, family guru. It's not that he's really teaching anybody some spiritual subjects. He's teaching them materialistic subjects like Sandra and Marka, his sons, who are teaching Prahlad materialistic subjects. Similarly, Shukracharya is a materialistic guru. Srila Prabhupada often spoke against this caste Kula gurus, and he says that even in his childhood he was initiated by such a family guru, but later he just rejected that person once he grew up and understood that that initiation was useless. So after that, he took initiation from a real guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yeah, and he wanted to arrest him with the ropes of Varuna, because the ordinary ropes they thought will not work on him because Prahlad is so powerful. So you need a mystic ropes, and mystic ropes are ropes of Varuna that you use mantras to tie those ropes. I think in Mahabharata, some places described how one of the Pandavas, maybe Arjuna or somebody else, had these ropes, Varuna. All right, so let's see.
Prabhu, is this child? Is this Prahlad Maharaj?
Yeah, child is
Your
Prahlad
arrest?
Maharaj. Yeah, child is referring to Prahlad. Arrest this child with the rope. Yeah, Prahlad. Whom else? Yeah, we are just reading. Okay, Gunraj Prabhu is here. Maybe Gunraj Prabhu can read the next. Hare Krishna, Gunraj Prabhu. Can you
Yes.
hear us?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
We started a little earlier, 5:30. Is it too early for you, 5:30?
No. Actually, I forgot some of
Okay, no problem.
text 7.5.51. Tateti Guru Putroktam Anugnayadem Abravit Dharmo hi Asyo Padesh Tavyo Rajnam Yo Graham Medinam. Translation. After hearing these instructions of Sanda and Amarka, the sons of his spiritual master, Hiranyakashipu agreed and requested them to instruct Prahlada in that system of occupational duty which is followed by royal householder families. Purport. Hiranyakashipu wanted Prahlad Maharaja to be trained as a diplomatic king in ruling the kingdom, the country or the world, but not to be advised about renunciation or the renounced order of life. The word dharma here does not refer to some religious faith. As clearly stated, dharmo hi asyo padeshtavyo rajnam yo grahamedinam. There are two kinds of royal families. One whose members are simply attached to household life, and the other consisting of Raja Rishis, kings who govern with ruling power but are as good as great saints. Prahlada Maharaja wanted to become a Raja Rishi, whereas Hiranyakashipu wanted him to become a king attached to sense enjoyment, Graha Medinam. Therefore, in the Aryan system, there is Varnashrama Dharma by which everyone should be educated according to his position in society's division of Varna, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya, and Sudra, and Ashrama, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. A devotee purified by devotional service is always in the transcendental position above the mundane qualities. Thus, the difference between Prahlad Maharaja and Hiranyakashipu was that Hiranyakashipu wanted to keep Prahlada in mundane attachment, whereas Prahlada was above the modes of material nature. As long as one is under the control of material nature, his occupational duty is different from that of a person not under such control. One's real dharma or occupational duty is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.19. As described to his order carriers by Dharmaraja or Yamaraja, a living being is a spiritual identity, and therefore his occupational duty is also spiritual. The real dharma is that which is advised in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. One must give up one's material occupational duties just as one must give up his material body. Whatever one's occupational duty, even according to the Varnashrama system, one must give it up and engage in one's spiritual function. One's real dharma or occupational duty is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jeevere Swarupa hai, Krishnere Nitya Das. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 20.108. Every living being is an eternal servant of Krishna. That is one's real occupational duty. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura says, Anyaya means accepting.
So here, Varnashrama Dharma, and now Hiranyakashipu still wants to give a chance to Prahlad and teach him Varnashrama Dharma. But what kind of Dharma? He wants to teach him Varnashrama Dharma devoid of any devotional service. Varnashrama Dharma that is devoid of devotional service is just another materialistic system and another materialistic education. You learn the rules for your varna or ashram, but you have no concept of God or spiritual life or anything. And then this is also useless. As Bhagavata says, Shama eva hi kevalam, all occupational duties, they're just useless waste of time if they do not invoke attraction for the message of Vasudeva. And this is exactly what now Hiranyakashipu wants from Prahlad Maharaj. To become a Grihamedi means materialistic Grihastha who is deeply engrossed in family affairs, in family life. I just remember when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a small boy, when he was a Nimai here in Mayapur. At one point, his father, Jagan Mishra, he decided that small Nimai should discontinue his education because Vishwarup, his elder brother, he already left. He took sannyas. So the Jagan Mishra, he was fearing that if Nimai also learns everything how it is, the nature of this world and all the spiritual knowledge, he'll also live and I'll have no children and nobody to succeed the family line. So he was thinking, let Nimai stop his education. So he told Nimai one day, hey Nimai, you don't need to go to the school anymore. But Nimai actually, he wanted to go to school. He liked actually his studies, but because his father expressed his desire for him not to go, he stopped going. But then he became very, very mischievous and started doing a lot of pranks. And after some time, some neighbors, they came to Sachimata and said, why you are keeping him from going to school? Why you want him to stay uneducated Brahmana boy? What is on your mind? Why is Jagan Mishra doing this? So eventually, they convinced Sachimata and Jagan Mishra to allow Nimai to study again. So he went back to the school. So Hiranyakashipu, he wants to stop Prahlad from receiving spiritual education, but he doesn't know how to do this. So he thinks if he just teaching him something materialistic, that will do the work. So in this case, this materialistic education he wants to give him is a materialistic Varnashrama Dharma knowledge. So in itself, Varnashrama Dharma is nothing spiritual unless you add connection with the Krishna there. It's just another materialistic knowledge. Of course, given by Shastra and by Krishna, but it's given with a certain purpose. And if that purpose is missed, then it's useless. And sometimes we see some devotees very much, advocating Varnashrama, and all they think and speak about is just Varnashrama, and somehow the bhakti is almost forgotten, but then it becomes extreme. Like the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission was Varnashrama, or Prabhupada's mission was Varnashrama. But it's true, Prabhupada said, that he wanted to establish the Varnashrama because he saw that most of the people in the modern day world, they're just not capable of taking up to devotional service. So let them at least take up to Varnashram and go to gradual process of elevation. And then one day in this life or the next, they'll be qualified to come to the bhakti path. All right, so let's go back and start the round of reading again. Oh, what is the time? Okay, we read 1 hour. Okay, half an hour more we have. Subhadra Mataji, would you like to read again?
Yep. Dharmam artham cha kamam cha nityaram chanupurvasha pradayo cha tu rajan prasrita vanataya cha. Thereafter, Sunday and Amarka systematically and unceasingly taught Prahlad Maharaj, who was very submissive and humble, about mundane religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Purport. There are 4 processes for human society: dharma, artha, kam, and moksha, and they culminate in liberation. Human society must follow a process of religion to advance. And on the basis of religion, one should try to develop his economic condition so that he can fulfill his needs for sense gratification according to the religious rules and regulations. Then liberation from material bondage will be easier to attain. That is the Vedic process. When one is above the stages of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, one becomes a devotee. He is then on the platform from which he is guaranteed not to fall again to material existence. Yet gatva na nivartante. Bhagavad Gita 15:6, as advised in Bhagavad Gita, if one transcends these 4 processes and is actually liberated, one engages in devotional service. Then he is guaranteed not to fall to material existence again.
Okay, so Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Generally, materialistic society, if it's pious, you have only 3 things: Dharma, Artha, and Kama. So first comes Dharma. You're religious, you go to the temple, a church, you do some rituals, and as the result of that, you have a good job and some art, some economic development there. You have a business, a good business, and you're getting money. And then with that money, you can enjoy karma, sense gratification, which can be regulated or not regulated. Not regulated is sinful and it's creating bad karma. Regulated is okay, but it's still making you attached to the material world and doesn't let you leave material world. So the transcendence starts only when there is a conception of liberation. There is something higher than this world, and I want to get out. So then moksha comes in a place, and sannyasa ashrama, and which is naturally there in varnashrama system. And then bhakti is even higher than moksha. We just don't want to get liberated. We want to engage in devotional service of Krishna. So bhakti is above these 4 principles of varnashrama dharma. All right. Anything on this? Otherwise, who is there next? Who was reading previously?
Yeah.
Oh, Chatura Mataji, yeah. Please.
Yatha cheva kankuru bhya Atmane upashitam na shatu me chishan tanvaran mopava mitam. Translation: the teachers Sundar and Amaka instructed Prahlad Maharaj in the three kinds of material advancement called religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Prahlad, however, being situated above such instructions, did not like them, for such instructions are based on the duality of worldly fears, which involve one in a materialistic way of life, marked by birth, death, old age, and disease. Purport: the entire world is interested in the materialistic way of life. Indeed, practically 99.9% of the people in the three worlds are uninterested in liberation or spiritual education. Only the devotees of the law, headed by such great personalities as Prahlad Maharaj and Narada Muni, are interested in the real education of spiritual life. One cannot understand the principles of religion while staying on the material platform. Therefore, one must follow these great personalities as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.20. Swayambhu Narada Sambhuhu Kumara Kapila Manuhu Prahlada Janaka Bhishmo Iraveya Shakti Viyan. One must follow in the footsteps of such great personalities of Lord Brahma, Narada, Lord Shiva, Kapila, Manu, the Kumaras, the Prahlad, Maharaj, Bhishma, Janaka, Bali Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami, and Yamaraj. Those interested in spiritual life should follow Prahlad Maharaj in rejecting the education of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. One should be interested in spiritual education. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world, following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, who did not like any of the materialistic education he received from his teachers. Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur, 7.553, just as he considered the teachings of Chivadya to be wrong, he considered this teaching wrong since it described topics of material enjoyment, varama, and nothing spiritual.
Yeah, where today in the world somebody is teaching spiritual knowledge? Maybe some religious group of Catholics, they have some theological schools where those who want to be priests go. I guess in Islam also they have something. So in these big religions, they have some sort of schools trying to teach people about tenets of their own religion. In Hinduism, I'm not sure. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, he had some university where he was teaching trance meditation, but that was not very elaborate topic. Some Vedic things also he was teaching there. But in any official, government affiliated school, I don't see anywhere really any spirituality being taught. Of course, in ISKCON we have, Mayapur Institute Vrindavan Institute, but ISKCON is so small comparing to the rest of the world that it's practically negligible. The number of devotees comparing to the world population is so small that it's almost insignificant. And what is being taught in all millions of schools around the world are just materialistic subjects, completely materialistic subjects. Everybody is completely deluded. So unless there is a proper education, it's very difficult to make any progress for any society. In Russia, there is one devotee who was his name. He's a doctor, some sort of natural healer or doctor, and he somehow he has some preaching platforms where he attracts, thousands and thousands of people, teaching them about these alternative methods of healing. And gradually, he's always, but he's adding many sort of Vedic sort of things from Vedas here and there. So he's doing some sort of bridge preaching, and many of these people that he's teaching, they become interested, and they want to know more, and then he is giving them more, and then many of them become even devotees, initiated devotees. So sometimes it's difficult to teach exactly straight, pure devotional service as it is given in Bhagavatam to new people. So then you want to teach something in between, something that is a little spiritual, but it's not too heavy for new people. And then gradually you introduce them to higher subjects like Bhagavatam. What was his name? Yeah, he's famous in Russian-speaking world. I can't remember now his name. All right, I think is it Shantirupam?
Yes, yes.
Mataji? Yeah.
Yadacharya praravritto griha medhiya karmasu vayasir balakastatra sopahuta kritakshane. When the teachers went home to attend to their household affairs, the students of the same age as Prahlad Maharaj would call him to take the opportunity of leisure hours for play. Purport. In tiffin hours, the hours when the teachers were absent from the classroom, the students called Prahlad Maharaj, wanting to play with him. As will be seen from the following verses, however, Prahlad Maharaj was not very much interested in playing. Instead, he wanted to utilize every moment for advancing in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, as indicated in this verse by the word Kritakshane, at the opportune moment when it was possible to preach about Krishna consciousness, Prahlad Maharaj used the time as follows. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Paravritta means going to his house from the school. There he engaged in his duties. At that time, Prahlad was called by his friends for having a good time playing Pritakshane, or it can mean with opportunities for teaching about bhakti.
Tiffin hours. This is very, very nice term Prabhupada is using. So do you remember from your school days, your tiffin hours? What did you do? Generally, what I remember,
We
you just
always
want to,
played.
yeah, you just want to break from all this learning and math and this, and you just want to play. Even here in these Mayapur schools, I think devoted children in break, they just run around. They're not going to, hear about some spiritual knowledge. But no, Prahlad Maharaj, he just didn't want to waste even one moment. And then he influenced others. His association was so powerful because he was a Mahabhagavata that even small children somehow they got influenced by him, and they also lost the interest for playing, and they listened to him. All right.
Read the second one.
Yes, please.
Atatang slakshnaya vacha pratyahuya mahabudha uvacha vidvamstam nishtam kripaya prahasanniva. Translation. Prahlad Maharaj, who was truly the supreme learned person, then addressed his class friends in very sweet language. Smiling, he began to teach them about the uselessness of the materialistic way of life. Being very kind to them, he instructed them as follows. Purport. Prahlad Maharaj's smiling is very significant. The other students were very much advanced in enjoying materialistic life through religion, economic development, and sense gratification. But Prahlad Maharaj laughed at them, knowing that this was not actual happiness. For real happiness is advancement in Krishna consciousness. The duty of those who follow in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj is to teach the entire world how to be Krishna conscious and thus be really happy. Materialistic persons take to so-called religion to get some blessings so that they can improve their economic position and enjoy the material world through sense gratification. But devotees like Prahlad Maharaj laugh at how foolish they are to be busy in a temporary life without knowledge of the soul's transmigration from one body to another. Materialistic persons are engaged in striving for temporary benefits, whereas persons advanced in spiritual knowledge, such as Prahlad Maharaj, are not interested in the materialistic way of life. Instead, they want to be elevated to an eternal life of knowledge and bliss. Therefore, as Krishna is always compassionate to the fallen souls, his servants, the devotees of Lord Krishna, are also interested in educating the entire populace in Krishna consciousness. The mistake of materialistic life is understood by devotees, and therefore they smile upon it, considering it insignificant. Out of compassion, however, such devotees preach the gospel of Bhagavad Gita all over the world. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Vidwan the Nishtham means he knew that the boys had faith in him as their teacher. He smiled slightly, thinking, these boys have fallen into the net of the Lord's mercy.
Yeah, Prahlad Maharaj, see, the knowledge he has is a realized knowledge. It's not just Gyan, it's a Vigyan. It's not that he was learning all these things in the school. No, he has a personal realization because he's 100% engaged in pure devotional service. So he's speaking from his realization, not that he just memorized something that he heard from Narada Muni while he was in the womb. No, he applied everything that he heard, and now he's speaking from his realization. So there is a lot of difference from between theoretical knowledge and realized knowledge. So that's why he could influence the other boys so easily, because he had realized all these things, and everybody then wants to hear from a realized person. Otherwise, there are many those who have a lot of theoretical knowledge, but it's just a dry knowledge, which cannot change anybody's heart. But just by seeing Prahlad Maharaj, just by being near to him, to his school friends, they were moved, they were touched, and they felt purified. So the main mission of this Krishna conscious movement, as Prabhupada says, is education. We need to educate innocent people who don't know anything about spiritual life, who don't know even that the soul exists. They think, most of the people think, the death, that's it. I go to earth, and after that, there's nothing more, because they just don't know. Even in any of universities, the science of the soul is not taught. Yeah, there are some people who are interested in reincarnation, this and that, but there is no systematic knowledge about these things. So it's a huge task in front of the devotees. And Prabhupada is doing the best education through his books. So distributing his books is also a way of education. Just by reading these books, people become educated. But then, of course, they need some personal association of devotees as well, because there are so many intricacies there that needs to be explained. All right, is it now Dhanashri Mataji's turn?
I am here.
Yes, please.
Te tu tad Goravat Salve, Sakta Krida, Pikshada, Bala Adusito Dio, Dwandwa Ramerite Hitai, Paupasata Rajendra, Tanyasta Vidayekshana, Tanaha Karuno Maitro, Mahabhagavato, Sura.
So he was Mahabhagavat, although born from an asura.
Okay. Translation. My dear King Yudhishthir, all the children were very much affectionate and respectful to Prahlad Maharaj, and because of their tender age, they were not so polluted by the instructions and actions of their teachers, who were attached to condemn duality and bodily comfort. Thus, the boys surrounded Prahlad Maharaj, giving up their plaything and sat down to hear him. Their heart and eyes being fixed upon him, they looked at him with great earnestness. Prahlad Maharaj, also born in a demon family, was an exalted devotee, and he desired their welfare. Thus, he began instructing them about the futility of materialistic life. Purport. The words Bala Adusita Diya indicate that the children, being a tender age, were not as polluted by materialistic life as their fathers. Prahlad Maharaj, therefore, taking advantage of the innocence of his class friends, began teaching them about the importance of spiritual life and the insignificance of materialistic life. Although the teachers, Sanda and Amarka, were instructing all the boys in the materialistic life of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, the boys were not much polluted. Therefore, with great attention, they wanted to hear from Prahlad Maharaj about Krishna consciousness. In our Krishna consciousness movement, the Gurukul plays an extremely important part in our activities because right from childhood, the boys at the Gurukul are instructed about Krishna consciousness. Thus, they become steady within the cores of their hearts, and there is very little possibility that they will be conquered by the modes of material nature when they are older. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the intelligence was not contaminated by the words tritai or action titai of the Brahmanas involved in material pleasure. Thus ends the commentary on the 5th chapter of the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees, in accordance with the previous acharyas. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 7th canto, 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu.
So here point is being made that they were not so polluted because they were still young. That means more you go through life and enjoy unrestricted sensual gratification, you become more and more polluted. So the older you are, that means the more years of of this unrestricted sense gratification and materialistic life you have, you get more polluted. That's why children who have not yet been exposed, they're still pretty much innocent. Although it's said that nobody is innocent because in previous lives we did so many things and we had many previous lives. So even small children, they're not so innocent. But at least in this life, they're still kind of blank slates. They haven't been polluted so much in this life. So they're more open and you can teach them proper things much more easily than you can teach a grown-up person. And then Srila Prabhupada here is giving example of Gurukula in our Krishna conscious movement. Well, when Prabhupada wrote this, it was, I guess, 50 years ago or something. And somehow during these 50 years, since Prabhupada left us, the Gurukul system has not really been successful for some reason. Actually, it was complete failure that led to many, even court cases and child abuse cases, and somehow somebody did some calculation how many of those devoted children who won the photo of Gurukul in Dallas in 1970, whatever the year was, how many are still devoted, and found that out of 50, maybe one or two are just still devotees, and even this one or two, they're not in ISKCON anymore, and that was the result of improper education. Although the intention of Prabhupada was the best, he wanted the best for the children, he wanted spiritual education, but somehow we had no capacity and facility because the teachers in those days, they were just young people who knew nothing, and who also just new devotees, and quite materialistic devotees also. So they just took opportunity to abuse children instead of to help them. So that's why that Gurukul experiment was a failure. Hopefully, sometimes in the future, the proper educational system, whether it's Gurukul or a school system, can be established. Now what we have in Mayapura, just day schools. Even the Gurukul, it was called Gurukul, is now just the day schools. Children come in the morning, they go in the evening, but still that school has some elements of the Gurukul, some more Vedic elements than the other schools in Mayapur. Like Sri Mayapur International School is more or less like any other school with all academic subjects, plus, some little Shastra, some little Mridanga, harmonium, and things like that. But the good advantage of that is that the school is in Mayapur, all the teachers devotees, and devotees, the children are surrounded by other devotee children. If you go to some city, like big city like Kolkata, and just leave the children in a public school, or to speak about the West, the children will be surrounded by other children who are not devotees, and that's very, very much, dangerous, because they can get influenced and polluted very, very easily. At least here, to some degree, they're protected, but still, even here, the bad association is there. So there are instances of children in Mayapur also indulging in illicit activities like drugs and other things. But at least it's under control to some degree. All right, we finished the chapter, and it's almost 7. I don't know whether at least chapter summary we can read, and let's see how long we'll go. I don't want to go too long. Chapter summary. who is left there in this second round to read? Punraj Prabhu. Can you please at least read the summary?
Yes, Prabhu. Chapter summary. This chapter describes Prahlad Maharaja's instructions to his class friends. In speaking to his friends, who were all sons of demons, Prahlad Maharaja stressed that every living entity, especially in human society, must be interested in spiritual realization from the very beginning of life. When human beings are children, they should be taught that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the worshipable deity for everyone. One should not be very much interested in material enjoyment. Instead, one should be satisfied with whatever material profits are easily obtainable. And because the duration of one's life is very short, one should utilize every moment for spiritual advancement. One may wrongly think in the beginning of our lives, let us enjoy material facilities, and in old age we may become Krishna conscious. Such materialistic thoughts are always useless because in old age one cannot be trained in spiritual way of life. Therefore, from the very beginning of life, one should engage in devotional service. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23. This is the duty of all living entities. Material education is infected by the three modes of nature, but spiritual education, for which there is a great need in human society, is transcendental. Prahlad Maharaja disclosed the secret of how he had received the instructions from Narada Muni. By accepting the lotus feet of Prahlad Maharaja, who is in the Parampara succession, one will be able to understand the mode of spiritual life. In accepting this mode of activity, there is no need for material qualifications.
So Prabhupada is discussing the importance of education. And yeah, he says here that from the very beginning of life, the child should be taught that the Lord, Krishna, is a worshipful deity of everyone. So this is the beginning of education, that there is a God and that he is worshipable for everybody. And that from the very beginning of life, we should learn how to worship the Lord. So it's also not education. Sometimes we blame the Gurukul system didn't work well in ISKCON and it's just a failure. But besides the school system, parents they play great role in educating their children. We can blame the ISKCON, the system, the school, this that, but we as a parents are equally responsible or even more responsible, especially nowadays when the children just go to the school in the morning, come back in the afternoon. So the children spend more time with us than they spend in the school. So our influence is crucial. So it's not just about teaching them some theoretical knowledge, but it's also practical things that they see from us.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I ask a
Yes,
question?
yes, please.
Is it wrong to think about the child's future, like the maintenance part of the when he is old and how he will maintain himself? Because I've seen Gurukul boys have difficulty in maintaining themselves. So, what is the solution for that, or we should not think about that?
Yes, Maria, this is very good question. Well, we cannot avoid thinking about it. Yeah, I know the preaching in a Gurukul was if you just adopt the good qualities, then Krishna will take care of you, and you don't need to think about maintenance. Then the whole world will be open for you because you develop these good qualities in Gurukul. But this was just preaching. In reality, the situation was quite difficult. Neither they attained some exalted qualities, neither they attained some material qualifications to maintain themselves. And in ISKCON, we don't have a social system, we don't have a structure that will take care of these children. So naturally, you have to think what will they do to live. Naturally, you have to think about it. And since there is no really system in ISKCON, they have to go to outside world somehow to make their living. So the best thing would be to see what is actually their dharma, what is their nature, and to try to educate them in that direction, not
Yes,
just
because
to,
yes,
yeah.
because all boys are not don't have like saintly qualities or what Brahminical qualities to survive in this structure. So parents are sometimes they force their children to uh, adopt this thing, but that's I don't know. Should we force or should we not force? That is another question.
No, definitely. The forcing will not work. It's just not going to work. At some point, the child might just rebel. Well, when it's small, he has to listen, but later, when he becomes a teenager, he just rebels and completely leaves Krishna consciousness. Those who were forced, for example, to chant, later they hate chanting. Somehow you have to make them like. It's not that you don't want them to chant. You want them to chant, but somehow they have to see first that you like it, to do the puja, to chant and kirtan and all these things. Somehow, if the parents are really liking these things, and then the children will naturally follow and do them. And then about this maintenance part, I have one friend who grew up in the Buddha family in in America, and somehow from the very beginning, the parents they had a small temple actually. Although the father worked in outside company, but the mother, she was running kind of the small restaurant, and children, she homeschooled two boys. Two of them, she homeschooled them. She just didn't have any confidence to let them go to the public school. So she homeschooled them, but they would go for the exams and pass the exams. And both of these boys, and now they're grown up men, they got a PhDs, from Oxford University, and both of them are wonderful devotees. Somehow, because the parents were so genuine in their practice of Krishna consciousness, that naturally, the children, they adopted the good qualities from the parents. They followed the good example, and they just became very good devotees. But at the same time, they were homeschooled up to I think even up to the university level, or maybe just the high school. They passed very quickly just by passing exams, and then they went to the university and got their masters and PhDs very quickly. But that time they were already mature enough to discriminate good and bad associations, so it didn't affect them. This is just one example. And their mother later, she wrote even a book about homeschooling in a Krishna consciousness. I forgot the book's name. Anyway, the point is that you have to think about also their maintenance. So it's the best thing somehow to see what their nature is and to try to early direct them into that direction. And not to waste too much time learning about everything, anything, and later finding out that they don't like any of these things. Somehow to trying to direct them properly. That's varnashrama, recognizing the nature and engaging them properly. So yes, not everybody might be brahmana by nature and just wanting to do puja, but puja is not the only duty of a brahmana. Also teaching and other things are there for brahmanas. But what is the scope in ISKCON for children being pujaris. Okay, you can say so many temples are there, but how many temples are actually capable of maintaining properly their pujaris? They can keep some brahmacharis, but how many are going to maintain and pay for pujaris? Only the big and rich temples. Small temples, they just want anybody to do the service. Yeah, like that. In ISKCON, we don't have an economic social system, and we cannot rely on it. So that's why you need to see what would be the best way how to maintain oneself in how these children will maintain themselves in the outside world. Of course, in India, is a kind of trend that everybody goes to the school, and mostly ITs. Everybody wants to finish IT. There's a huge competition, and then everybody wants to go to Dubai or Middle East and make money there and this and that. But all these sort of things might be okay, might be good, but you are forced to compete in a very, difficult and tough outside world with the millions of other children, and it's putting quite a lot of pressure on devoted children. The best thing would be somehow to not make them, hired laborers, even if they are highly paid, but somehow to help them find something that they can be independent, that they can independently live, some sort of Vaishya business or something that they can be self-employed. That would be the best, not to go and run for some salary here and there and serve anybody and everybody. So how to do this? Yeah, one has to think. One would need to be a Vaishya nature also to be self-entrepreneuring person. Yeah, these are just some thoughts. It's difficult, to properly educate children in nowadays worlds, especially for devotees. So you want to impart them some spiritual values, but also they need to get some, academic education and some practical education that will serve them later in the life. Anybody else has any thoughts on this? So forcing is definitely not the main, but also some discipline has to be there. If you just let them do whatever they want, they will also just play all day, So one should not beat them, but also should not them lose, and let them do whatever they want. No, you have to recognize their nature and direct them gently, but with some discipline. Some people, some children like computers. Okay, let them study computers, but if they don't, let them, let's find out what is their real nature. Maybe, the astrologer Jyotish can help if you cannot really recognize, and give them different opportunities to engage in different activities to see what the real nature is. When the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when small Nimai was born, they brought, what did they bring? They brought the Bhagavatam, and they brought some coins for child to choose, and immediately he embraced Bhagavatam. So they could recognize that his nature is Brahminical from the very beginning. But somebody else would go for the coins, and then okay, let them get educated in Vaishya things, in business, and pursue that direction with the spiritual knowledge with the spiritual education at the same time. So some vocational education and spiritual education is the best. And of course, we don't know how long we can rely on the modern day world and modern day civilization, and when is it going to collapse, as Prabhupada predicted 50 years ago that we have 50 more years of the modern day civilization. So if it collapses, then everybody is back to the basics, means agriculture and this sort of self-sufficient occupations. So the best way, if one would have some piece of land and cultivate that land, but who is doing this now from the devotees? Rarely I see anybody, and it's understandable. It's a hard work, and the result is not easy. Who wants to work hard? It's easier to go and sit in some office for 8 hours and then get some money. So as long as this sort of occupation exists, nobody will want to work on land. Only few fanatics here and there, they'll go to the farm and try doing these things. So we will need to be forced, and that will happen once the modern civilization destroyed. I don't know exactly when that will happen, but sooner or later it has to happen. All right, I think yes, Mataji.
Yeah, you say Srila Prabhupada predicted this modern civilization will collapse.
Yeah, I think in 73, something like that, when some disciples asked him, I could look for the exact quote, but I remember, yeah, 50 years, he said. How they're asking how much more we have this modern civilization. Prabhupada said around 50 years. So it's about the time now. 50 years from
Yeah.
73, we already
Yeah.
crossed, we might have few more years here and there. So what needs to happen? It's just one big war needs to happen and everything is finished. The Second World War happened how many years ago? 70 years ago or so. So according to some cycles, the Third World War might also happen, and then everything can be finished. And then what? Then we have to start from the beginning. That's why this, varnashrama and self-sufficiency, it's important. And Prabhupada also wanted the devotees not to depend on a modern civilization, because if something happens and the money is worth nothing anymore, or everything crashes, the bank collapse, your money in bank is just gone, and what you're going to live from. But if you have a piece of land uh, or a cow or something, you can somehow survive. If not, it will be
Yeah.
very difficult.
Yeah. Very good.
Anyway, some farm projects are going here and there, but still, compared to it's still small, and just a few devotees here and there. Most of us are still, completely plugged in the modern day professions and civilization, and we have to wait and then pray to Krishna to save us when these things happen.
Yeah.
Okay. If anybody has anything else, I will stop here. I won't continue reading anymore. We'll stop. Okay, so next Wednesday, should we again continue from 5:30, or how is it? Or you prefer 6? I think 5:30 would be good if we can.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
me it's also good.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay.
For me,
Okay.
perfect also.
Okay. See you then the next Wednesday 5:30. Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
Hare Krishna.